Hey everybody, welcome back to the 6th round post-fight show with me, Zane Simon, and my co-host, Eddie Mercado. Back still. Bloody Elbow may be dead, but we are still alive, and as long as we are still alive, we are still doing the 6th round.
That's right.
One way or another, hell or high water, we will keep the show going. Right now, it'll still be dropping over on the Substack and on this YouTube channel like it has been in the past. In the future, who knows? Things may change. The world may get wild. We may take it other places, but we'll take the show somewhere. We're not about to quit doing it.
Never.
It's too much fun.
You can't get rid of us. Sorry.
No, God, you really can't. So, people got to understand. When you and I don't know what you started at under Vox with Bloody Elbow, but I started at like $50 a month.
You started at $50 a month? Motherfucker, I started for free.
Yeah.
I gave 3 free months of work at least.
Yeah.
Before I ever got on. But I also only got on because I found the vivisection and I got Kid Nate's name and I added him on Facebook and cyberstalked him and he like responded to my DM. And then one day I was like, hey, man, I love your show, but your betting advice could use some work. You should hire me. And he's like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah. That is how it always works. I originally got my job because I emailed Mookie and I was like, hey, I started from scratch and made the list of current UFC fighters over on Wikipedia and have been maintaining that for a couple of years. Would you guys want some stuff like that over on Bloody Elbow? I could like develop some stuff, some like data tracking and lists, and I actually have a writing degree. I could do that too, yada, yada, yada. But, I just kind of got in the door that way. So yeah, you started for free. I started for $50. We have been doing this show with zero money for years, and eventually the fact that it paid any bills at all for us was miraculous. A minor miracle. And so, this is just to say we're not about to quit because because Bloody Elbow shut down. It was never about the money for doing these shows. These shows have always been a labor of love and for the fun of it and all that. And if we can make them make us money, that's great. But we're also in the lean times. We're still here with 2 webcams and
not in a weird way.
Not in a weird well, sometimes in a weird way. Sometimes in a weird way. I get the occasional complaint. Anyway, we're here right now talking about UFC 299. Sean O'Malley defeating Marlon Vera.
Still undefeated.
I hate to say it, but Sean O'Malley was right. He did gift that title shot to Marlon Vera, and he is just way better than him and clearly the champ. And that is what it is,
Like, I knew this going in. I feel like this is kind of what I expected. I honestly expected Vera to do maybe a little bit more, at least damage-wise, in the earlier rounds. But with Vera being a notorious slow starter, I couldn't see him mounting any sort of lead here. And if he wasn't going to get a finish, I just didn't see it materializing. And I never thought Sean would be able to finish Vera. And that proved to be true. The way he ate that knee and kept going, I was thoroughly impressed with the toughness of Vera. But
yeah, he's always been tough. So I picked Vera in the thorough expectation that he would not win any of the first 3 rounds. And that if I picking him, it was going to be because he could pour it on late in rounds 4 and 5 when I felt that there was a chance that Sean O'Malley's durability might start to get compromised.
Which is what happened.
Yeah.
Exactly what happened. But Just that finish never happened. O'Malley was able to maintain composure
right up until that very, very like that body shot right at the last second. It hurt him.
Yeah.
But, is what it is.
No, O'Malley looked great out there, man. He looked sensational. His footwork, his timing, his range management. I mean, he was so surgical. Cheeto got fucked up, dude. He looked like a different person afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, it is just one of those things where Sean O'Malley's always been fast. We know he's fast. There's no question about that.
Boy.
But his footwork and his jab have cleaned up so much over the years that like Vera just couldn't get close to him. I mean, it's one thing when to be faster than somebody, but when you're faster than them and you have better footwork than them and you are throwing tighter strikes than them, like you don't have to be way faster than them to look way faster. And Sean O'Malley was able to look way faster than Marlon Vera, even if he was only like maybe somewhat faster. He's definitely faster, but like, you could even debate like, Marlon Vera could potentially, throw one strike as in similar speed or something.
Yeah, maybe, but it's not just. It's like fast is in the body, quick is in the mind.
Yeah,
Sean is both.
Yeah,
he's fast and he's quick. Like, remember that fucking trip he did where he used his footwork, circled out, and hit the trip? I was like, I had to bring it back for a second because I'm like, what was this wizardry?
And that's the thing I'm talking about too, is just where like when your technical skills are that much better than somebody and you're a better athlete, you are going to look a light year beyond, because you can do stuff like that. You're going to circle out and be out ahead of not only a step ahead, but then you can create the multiple steps after that to make you look 3 steps ahead, because all you needed was that one step to make 2 other things happen that they didn't see and didn't have the time to see. And that's what this fight looked like. It was Sean O'Malley taking the edge that he already naturally had over Vera and turning it into a massive technical edge all the way through.
Yeah, and maintaining that focus all the way through was awesome.
Yep.
Oh, man, did you hear Jason Perillo slurring in the corner?
Yeah.
Man, that hurt my feelings. Like, I was hoping he was on the sauce, but I don't think that's the case.
No, it's not a kind industry. This is not, there's a reason that we are out here wanting fighters to get all the money they can out of this shit, because the long-term repercussions are, unkind. So, anyway, neither here nor there. Sean O'Malley was right. I'm going to say it here today. Marlon Vera got a real gift in getting that title shot just shortly after his loss to Corey Sandhagen and off a win over Pedro Munoz. Like, that is not a title shot defining win.
No, it reminds me of when Bisbing fought Dan Henderson for the second time.
Sure, yeah. And it's just one of those things where Bisping was like, I have to have it. And everybody's like, okay, well, I guess.
Sean O'Malley's still undefeated.
Yep. And you know what? It is about to be awfully hard for him, because Merab Dvalishvili is right around the corner. And the fight he wants, Ilia Topuria, does not look like a kinder fight than Merab Dvalishvili, honestly. And both men are on an athletic par to the point that I don't expect O'Malley to just look as unbelievably slick as he did tonight. But it might be that we could, if he can defend his belt another time or two, bantamweight may have the first really legitimate feeling champ it's had in a long time.
It might, but I don't think Sean's sticking around 135.
Yeah, you think that? Well, you think? I mean, because if he goes up to fight Topuria, I'm just going to say right now, if he goes up to lose to Ilia Topuria, do you think he'll stay there at 135 or 145?
Probably, because it might be like a Conor McGregor thing where once you move up, that's it. You're not going back.
It could be. I mean, he's not a small guy. He's a lot thinner than McGregor. McGregor was always really broad across the shoulders. Holloway, or not Holloway, but O'Malley has more of the Max Holloway build. Where, Holloway.
I mean, I would much rather watch the Topuria fight than the Merab
fight.
Even though Dvalishvili is worthy and deserving, and I'm a fan, like, I would just rather see the banger with Topuria and O'Malley. Like, that could be interesting. I'm not like O'Malley might get melted.
I hate that we're in this whole point where literally every single UFC champion is calling out the champion above them.
You hate that?
I mean, I think it's just like when it's everybody. I like seeing the fights themselves.
Were you a boxing fan?
Yeah.
Because that's like the norm in boxing.
I know. But it's also like, I will admit, I did kind of like when Joe Silva could play with all of his toys. He may have been an evil little gremlin, but he also ran the UFC like a very structured, tiered system of fighting, where it was like, you get this good, you get to take a step up and fight these opponents. You get this good, you get to take a step up and fight these opponents. And you know what he hated? He hated champions ever leaving the division to ever fight in any other division ever. Yeah,
it's like, a different time though.
It is. But I still have a part of me is still that guy who's like, I want to see a champion sit on the throne and defend the belts. We loved GSP. We loved Anderson Silva.
About that, dude. I don't care.
I like it.
Who shits about it? I want to see the best fighters versus the best fighters.
I know.
I prefer that over, over like just cleaning out your division and then doing it again.
Like, I will admit that, a part of what I'm asking for here is like GSP Jake Shields.
Yeah.
And like, that is not a sensible thing to ask for. I realize that. Being like, man, I really want
just think
John Jones versus Anthony Smith. That is what I'm begging for. It's not really. I just don't want to see every single title holder at the same time being like, the only fight I want is with the guy a division up from me.
I'm fine with it.
I know you're fine with it.
I think it makes it more fun. It's more of a freak show. But not in lieu of proper contenders. Like that's something that could hang up. Not in this case, because stylistically speaking, like, come on.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing, is that Merab Dvalishvili is a very proper contender. Yeah. The man is unquestionably a contender.
Yes.
But you're already willing to just throw him, leave him. Let
him have his interim title, okay? Interim title him, and then let O'Malley go do what he wants. And if O'Malley returns, you unify, and if not, then you get Merab against someone else for the unify.
You get Merab versus Sandhagen. Because Sandhagen is the other clear contender.
Nurmagomedov too.
Yeah, but not off of. He fought some guy they scraped off the regional scene on, he's not getting a title fight off that. He's not the contender.
Title shot ready other than Merab. I think
Sandhagen's right there.
He's going to fight Umar, right?
Is he? Is that booked?
He agreed. No, but he agreed to it. Like he said.
But if they turned around and offered Corey Sandhagen a title shot tomorrow,
true.
The point is, you've got a couple contenders there, but I get it. Topuria versus O'Malley is a cool fight. It's just, and the thing,
I would rather see that than like Evloev and Topuria.
I mean, that is the other thing, is that featherweight does not, the one thing that makes this sensible at all is that featherweight does not actually have a ready contender right now. The only thing we have is Volkanovski asking for a rematch because he deserves it, because he's Alexander Volkanovski. Nothing to do with the performance he put on in his last fight, which would, to me, say you should take another fight before you get a rematch.
Well, to me, it says you should take some time off.
Well, that too. But he's talking like, oh, I'll take some time off to fall when we'll fight in Spain, and the UFC will book this card in Spain. And Sean O'Malley's like, I want that slot. You know, that's what I want. So
he might get it.
Yeah.
He's notorious for doing what he wants. He doesn't have a manager.
Like, yeah.
If anyone's going to call his own shot right now, other than McGregor, probably O'Malley.
Yeah. It's, you know what? He may be an incredibly uncharismatic person, but he is now appointment viewing off of this. I mean, he's been a great fighter for a while. I'm not going to deny that, but this really did feel like him turning a corner of, I mean, this is the first time he's ever fought 5 rounds. You know, it's the first time he's ever really just kind of gotten a chance to show up against a really top level fighter and put it on them all the way through and look like he's a clear class above. Like, he had that win over Peter Yan, but that was by the skin of his teeth.
It was debatable, and it was a war.
Yeah.
That's what won me over, honestly. After that, I was like, he's for real. It's not just hype.
This is a concern, I will say. One of our readers or one of our viewers said, yeah. You know, the Bulls chase movement, that stuff is waving all around. It's got Bulls are colorblind. I was going to say it's got the bright colors, but Bulls are actually colorblind. Although colorblind.
I don't see color either, Zane.
You don't see color either? No, you do. That's just a stupid joke you tell. I almost for a second. But color blindness is also a spectrum. Like, we say, oh, dogs are colorblind. Do they just see gray? No, they see like yellow and brown, and that's it. You know? Which is why if you give a dog an orange ball in green grass, can't find it for the life of itself.
O'Malley in Spain, running with the Bulls. It's the funnest fight possible.
It is a cool fight. I'm not going to deny it. If they book it, O'Malley is appointment viewing. You know, he is a fighter that I will show up to watch. And the win over Peter Yan, that was a clear, you are an elite fighter making performance. This is a clear, you are a champion performance. You know, these are the kind of fights you see out of guys like Max Holloway and Volkanovski and Silva and GSP, where
one judge gave him a 10-8 in one of the rounds.
And these are this is the kind of fight you want to see, where a champion is facing a good elite challenger. Like, I'm not going to say Vera was the clear challenger for this fight, but he's very clearly a top 10, borderline top 5 or top 5 level bantamweight. Like,
and he beat him once.
Yeah. He's in the picture. And to outclass a fighter like that so clearly, like, that is championship level performance. That is what we want to see out there as a fan watching and being like, oh, this is clearly a champion of this division. Something that a lot of other divisions right now in the UFC have been lacking, where, you know, you've got like
light heavyweight,
you've got middleweight, you've got even
heavyweight, honestly.
Yeah, even heavyweight. You got Leon Edwards down at welterweight against Colby Covington. You got Alexandre Pantoja at flyweight. And, like, I love the dude, but his performance over Brandon Royval and all that. Like that was not the kind of fight where I was like, oh man, Alexandre Pantoja is way better. He is clearly the champion of that division. It's like, okay, he's barely better right now than Brandon Royval, enough to keep the belt.
Yeah, but it's also like a condition of the divisions. The lighter you go, the more competitive the divisions become. Especially at 135, which makes this the craziest. Like
that's why it's so impressive. It's like this is a true championship performance. So
yeah,
really?
you can't deny them. You can't.
And I would love to, because this is a dude who is like talking about how he can be a swinger, but his girlfriend can't. He's holding his baby and talking about how doing heroin is fine. He's just kind of a dumbass all the time. And yet, I'm not gonna deny him and be like,
I'll say he's a showman. He's a showman.
In the cage. Outside of the cage, he's just
inside and outside of the cage. He's a showman. He knows how to generate content and stay buzzing and say things that keeps him,
I just think that he has the kind of personality that generates content all on its own. Like, I don't think he's trying to sound dumb. I think that's just naturally where he gravitates. Anyway, I can't deny. I am thoroughly annoyed with him. I can't deny him. All right, I know I'm old too.
You're not even. I'll bet 5 donuts that you're not going to pick him in his next fight.
No, not if it's against Ilia Topuria. I'm not.
Not if it's against Murad. I don't think you'll pick him in his.
I might pick him against Merab. The way Merab looked against Henry Cejudo, I don't know. I might. He was like a little held back a little, took a while to kind of get going. If he gives O'Malley space,
he got a different threat in front of you.
He's got a different threat. But if Merab occasionally has those performances where he goes out and tries to strike a bunch, and if he tries to do that,
he also already has a win over O'Malley if you count the jacket, right?
That's true. All right. Moving along, because we could talk about that a lot, but we already did. Dustin Poirier, Benoit Saint-Denis. Love it. Another win for the old men out there. Sorry, Dustin. I know you're only 35, but that's when it hits. That's when the oldness starts.
Bro, I lost my shit in this fight. I lost control, man. I was yelling at the screen. I was screaming at DP. Stop jumping the guillotine.
He can't. You know what? I hate to say it. I love Tim Kruger. I loved watching Tim Kruger fight. Dustin Poirier is forever a stain on Tim Kruger's record because he is the guy who trained him up when he was young. And you know that ATT has done everything they can for the past 8 years, 10 years to try and get him to stop jumping the guillotine. And it's just in there. It is stuck deep in his psyche and it will never go out.
He finally got out of it, though. He finally stopped doing it. Finally. And what did he do? He knocked him out. Bro, I was screaming at the screen. I was screaming, stop jumping it. Knock him out. He is not, he is just an ogre. Knock him out.
Yes.
He's plodding forward like a monster. Knock him the fuck out.
And the thing is that Poirier, I don't know if the book is just not that well written on him or something, but the thing he does best is box on his back foot as he is dropping out of the pocket and somebody is coming after him. And so when you've got a guy in front of him like Benoit, that's why I picked Poirier here, because when you've got somebody like Benoit Saint-Denis who can only really fight going forward, that's all he knows to do. He can only be on the gas all the time. There's no version of Benoit Saint-Denis that's going to be like, oh, I'm going to be a back foot out fighter here. Crafty range fighter, Benoit Saint-Denis. Right. No. If all he's going to do is chart after him, he will always be lined up for the things that Dustin Poirier does best, for the little step off to the left and that straight left down the pipe off on the angle. And once he started cracking him with that, it was just like, oh, this is it. Because Benoit Saint-Denis, he's not going to stop. He got hurt. He can't go backward now that he's hurt. He's got to keep coming forward. He can only walk right back into the teeth.
We see this so often at lightweight. Yeah. This new young blood comes marching up the division, thinking they're going to be the next hot shit, and then a perennial top fiver says, nah, back of the line. And this was Poirier's time to do that.
It was, and it was beautiful because, it's then on the flip side, you got to watch Ilia Topuria crush Alexander Volkanovski and have a little bit of, that little drop in your soul, that little hurt in your heart. Yeah. This
was the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Oh, I was so lit. I was so lit when he finished them, man. This was, I don't know how I would have felt if he lost this fight. I'd be like, why? I would have questioned why he even accepted it.
Yeah.
Because BSD is a monster. He looks so huge out there. He's just,
I said from the beginning it was a nonsense fight for Poirier to take. Like, it's just what it speaks to is if you are a cool action fighter, other people will want to fight you, even if it's a bad idea. The guys people don't want to fight are the guys that will hold them down and lay on them, or Beneil
Dariush.
Yeah, or Beneil Dariush. But for the most part, if you're like a badass go to war action fighter, even really good fighters, like all of these guys at some point or another have just been doing this because they love fighting and going to war with somebody. And that is one of the ways to draw them out. Like Dustin Poirier, at some point he's like, I would love to just be in a brutal fight with this dude. That sounds awesome.
I mean, honestly, a lot of these guys are so desensitized that they need to be scared.
Yeah.
So they have to sign up for a fight where the guy's a proven killer and they're finishing people.
Yep.
And I get it. I understand.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
It's a thing. So Poirier, he took a fight that he should not have taken. And it was a damn dangerous fight. And he almost paid for it. Like, I am not at all certain that he did not get his elbow completely popped and hyperextended there on that armbar.
At the end of the first?
Yeah, at the end of the first.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, the dude is cool as the other side of the pillow when it comes to fighting under fire.
I love his new tattoo. That shit is dope. He's got the King of Diamonds. I thought it was smooth. I was like, he's definitely not going to lose. He got the new King tattoo.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing, It's a view into another reality where Dustin Poirier became champion, and this felt like a title fight.
Interim champion's good enough for me.
Yeah. He's got his moment. Jumping the Gilly will forever damn him to interim / top number one contender status.
I'm just glad I got the opportunity to ask him about it. Before the Khabib fight, and he was like, "Oh, you got to risk it for the biscuit," and lit up too like a Christmas tree. He was so excited about jumping guillotines.
Yeah. It's never going away. It's never going to stop. He'll do it forever.
Yeah.
All right. For that, Michael Page, Kevin Holland, and have to say it, Michael Page was a problem for a lot of people in Bellator. It's going to be a problem for a lot of people in the UFC too. Kevin Holland did not know what to do with him at all. He was lost.
The irony of him with MVP doing all the antics against Kevin Holland, who's known for the antics.
Kevin Holland flopping and pulling guard and like
it's like some karma for him. But MVP, he's an enigma. He's tough to deal with. And he's not as easy to wall install as he used to be.
Not nearly. And he's just, it's funny because like Holland is the same size for like height and reach, but MVP, that also just means for Holland, he had to face a dude with his height and reach at 170 pounds.
Well, here's the thing about that. It's like, the height and the reach are the same, but the ability to cover distance is vastly different.
Yeah, Kevin Holland fights in a really tight, upright stance that really,
Overextending if he has to cover.
yeah, he fights like a tall man and swings wild to close distance, where, you know, Page fights long.
Yeah, he jousts in and out of the pocket.
Yep.
And that was catching Holland by surprise. That speed was just giving him fits the whole time.
Yep.
And his grappling wasn't there at all. Holland's.
No.
He had like one moment in the fight where he got on top, landed some decent ground and pound. I think he had like a rear naked choke for a half a second. But other than that, I mean, he just, like you said, he didn't know what to do.
He didn't. He looked totally lost. It's really too bad that they set up that stupid, I'm just going to call it awful, stupid, terrible, never needed to happen in a million years, Wonder Boy versus Shavkat fight. Because all the UFC has to do right now is do MVP versus Wonder Boy, and then just be like, no, he gets a title shot. Who cares? He's 35. We signed him for a reason. He won 2 fights. We're gonna jump him into a fight with Leon Edwards.
He's had title shots before.
Yeah,
Wonder Boy has.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, you want Wonder Boy coming off a win right now.
Why?
But him coming off that Shavkat loss,
bro.
It makes a little difference.
Gilbert Burns just fought JDM coming off a loss.
Yeah, but you know,
like, this shit doesn't matter, bro.
JDM is not.
Poirier just fought BSD coming off a loss. Like, so what? It doesn't fucking matter. Like, it doesn't matter.
True, but so you booked the Wonder Boy fight.
You have to, because here's the real deal. Dude's 40, right? Wonder Boy. He's not a boy anymore. Like, he's got a couple left, so we got to get this before we can't. Like, before it's too late, and that's coming really soon. That shelf life.
Whew. You know, you could, if you have to, if it takes an extra fight, then you do MVP versus Thompson. And if he can win that fight, which Wonder Boy's 40, so there's a solid chance, then you do MVP versus Ian Gary.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be fantastic. That'd be a really weird fight.
Yeah. And I'm just saying, like, if MVP can come out here and win a couple of fights and look fun, which he did, then you know you've signed a late career attraction. Just try and run that as far as you can.
Honestly, man, I never even thought I'd see the day where MVP is in the UFC.
I thought it would be a really bad move for him. I don't disagree with that point too, that MVP does not fight that often, so it could be something that doesn't happen. But you never know too, because Chandler has talked all the time about how basically he waited to really press his career for the point where he could get into the UFC. So you never know what these fighters are thinking with that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's true too.
Because it's a whole different level of promotional push that they can give you. Like, MVP became as big a star as he could in Bellator, and it was not that big a star, you know?
Well, because he couldn't win the title.
Right? Yeah, well, and because it's Bellator, they just can't, like, how far can they,
Well, he got knocked out by Douglas Lima, brutally, cartoonishly.
Yeah, but who's the biggest star that Bellator has ever created?
That's never been their MO. Maybe AJ McKee. Like, homegrown talent, that doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't happen.
Farland. I mean,
yeah. So, you know, like I can easily see a world where MVP, you know, he would want to fight more for the UFC because they can.
Once I saw him go bare knuckle, I was like, that's a wrap. You can't go back. You can't go from bare knuckle.
It's true.
He might be the first person to ever.
Especially go bare knuckle and lose to Mike Perry and get a UFC contract off that. I really thought that was like, okay, rising it is for MVP.
Yeah, Joe
we will
Silva.
See him fight once a year in Japan.
Joe Silva would have never let that happen on his watch.
He would not. Mostly just because he hated anyone with a personality that built that personality outside the UFC. Absolutely. If you were a personality guy, Joe Silva hated your guts automatically. Anyway, So yeah, great fight for Page and for Kevin Holland. Man, like, I don't get it. Like, there's a lot of tape out there on MVP. He looked good. He looked great tonight, but Holland looked like he just had no idea what to do.
I mean, it was very kind of similar to the Wonder Boy fight a little bit. I think Holland's just going to struggle with highly technical strikers.
Yeah, but Holland had a lot of success in that fight before he broke his hand, and then he also really had that whole like gentleman's agreement. I'm going to fight this fight on the feet with Stephen Thompson, where he took him down a couple times and was just like, "Oh, okay, I'm going to stand up and we'll go back to it." Here, he just couldn't make anything happen.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Jack Della Maddalena, Gilbert Burns, and man, this was the best version of this fight we could have saw.
Yeah.
This was the version where Maddalena did all of the bad grappling stuff that gets him in trouble, that everybody was really worried about would get him subbed.
But he also did some really good grappling stuff too.
He did some really good stuff. It's always like he makes the first move is terrible. I feel like his grappling instincts are awful and his training is pretty good.
Right.
It's like the first thing he does is always a terrible idea, and then he fights out of it really pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah. He just needs a second to think about it.
Yeah.
It's not as fluid and automatic as his striking.
No. So he did all the bad grappling stuff that would get him in trouble. And then Gilbert Burns spent enough time trying to strike with him that we got to actually see them strike together, and it wasn't just Gilbert Burns clinging to a leg the whole time, whether he could win that battle or not.
Yeah, no, Burns was landing some good shit, man. There's elbows, some overhands. Just his problem was he was throwing them one at a time. He wasn't throwing in combination. JDM was.
Burns has the same problem standing that JDM has on the mat, where like the training is good, but the instincts are bad.
Right.
So you can always see like he just kind of picks a combination. And it can be a good combination, but he'll just kind of throw it regardless of what's happening around him. Yeah. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, he's in no position to block it or be ready for counters or whatever. It's true.
Because you look at JDM, like that finishing sequence. So he's getting up off the ground, instantly throws that fucking knee. Instantly. Yeah. He knew the high IQ. He's like, the second I stand up, Gilbert's shooting. So the second JDM got up, the knee came up too. It wasn't like I need to stop and think about this. No. It was automatic, like Edson Barbosa style. Like right away, this knee's coming to meet you. And that landed clean as day. That was wicked.
Yeah. And it's just an awesome fight. Like I said, it's the best version of that fight. Because we could have had a fight where JDM went out there and just stormed Burns and knocked him out. We could have had a fight where Burns went out there, got the first takedown, jumped on Maddalena's neck, and subbed him out. And those would have been thrilling finishes. But to get like the full 3-round war where everybody gets their success, that's the awesome version of that fight. That's the version we want.
This is a risky fight. Burns coming off a loss, back-to-back losses now, and getting finished here. Not easy, but how about that call out from JDM? What is wrong with him?
I missed it. I was actually in a meeting while the fight was playing, so I was like having to talk to somebody and work the meeting while watching the fight.
He called out Shavkat. Why? Like, why? Of all people. Why? That's the last person I would ever call out.
Yeah.
He is the boogeyman of that division.
I mean, Shavkat, you know what? If JDM wants to fight for a title, I get it. Shavkat is a dude that if you can go out there and win that fight, you're fighting for a title. But if you're Shavkat, I mean, even if you think, okay, I can beat Jack Della Maddalena, you're taking one of like 2 fights in that division. And it's either going to be like Usman, Muhammad, Covington, or Edwards.
I don't even is Usman.
And Usman is he's at middleweight. I don't think he's coming. He says he'll come back if Adesanya wins the title again, because then he doesn't have a shot. He doesn't want to fight Adesanya. He doesn't have a path to the title.
That's fucking misty talk right there.
It really is. It is to coin a Eugene S. Robinson phase. That is being way off in the mist when you're starting to talk about which of your friends could win a belt that would make you change your career path.
That's lunacy, bro.
Yeah.
What?
So, but if you're Shop Cop, basically you're like looking at Covington or Muhammad or Edwards,
and
that's
not even
it.
Covington. His knees are shot. He's done. He's washed. You're really looking at Ian Gary or a title shot.
Yeah. And that's it. Like, if you're Shop Guy, you're not, Gilbert Burns is ranked 4, and Jack Della Maddalena is probably going to bump up to like 7 above Sean Brady after this, and Burns is going to fall down.
No, he should be in the top 5.
No, I bet that Gary and Covington are going to stay ranked ahead of JDM off this win. If it were me ranking, I would assume that would be the position.
So you're going to keep Gilbert Burns up there?
No, I'm going to drop. Burns is going to go down to above Stephen Thompson, between Brady and Thompson, and Jack Della Maddalena is going to go up above Brady.
I would still put Burns above Brady. For sure. He's got a way better body of work. What has Brady done?
Body of work, I don't care. Burns is coming off of 2 straight losses, and his last 2 wins are Jorge Masvidal and Neil Magny.
But what has Brady done? He got knocked out by Bilal.
So Bilal's a title contender now.
He got knocked out by Bilal Muhammad.
It's less of a bad thing to me than getting knocked out by Jack Della Maddalena.
Really?
I mean, Bilal Muhammad wins a lot of fights. Jack Della Maddalena is he's a bigger puncher.
JDM's a finisher.
He is a finisher, but he's a much more raw fighter.
Yeah, but you're getting finished by the guy that decisions everybody.
Fair enough. I'm just saying.
I think that's top 5. He should get a top 5 spot after that, in my opinion. And he might as well fight Ian Gary.
Sure.
That's a way more fun, stylistic matchup for me.
Gary's not going to get that Covington fight. Covington is... Wow. We have not heard peep one out of Colby Covington saying that he's interested. He had that moment after he lost where he's like, I want to fight again. I'm going to get right back out there. I'm not done. I want to keep going. We have not heard word one about a Colby Covington fight since
the adrenaline wore off. The pain meds wore off. He's like, fuck this, man.
Yeah. All right. For that, Petr Yan, Song Yadong, and you know what? During this fight, the thing I realized most, and I still I don't even know that I got the feeling I needed out of this, was that I am not ready to see Petr Yan be done as a title contender.
Yeah.
I'm not ready. Like, his style of fighting, his ability, his technical ability, his athletic ability it's too great for him to be out of the title picture already. And
well, hold on. In my opinion, his only real loss was Merab.
I know. I
thought he beat O'Malley. I thought he beat Sterling the second time. He fucked up Sterling the first time. Merab got him, but other than that, I don't think he washed or anything.
Which is why I didn't. Which is why I also just say I wasn't ready for him to be out of the title picture. It didn't feel like it was a right thing. But 4 straight losses, whatever you want to contextualize them, but had it been.
Oh yeah.
Had it been 4 straight losses.
You're questioning his departure from the UFC.
Yeah, it's like you are not about to contend for any belt. I don't care how fucked up the division rankings are and how they're rewarding title shots right now. They're not going to make that happen. So to see him beat Song Yadong, it was good that he's still up there, but my God, this was a hard fought win, and it it felt like he needed every ounce of his strength and ability, and he looked old at times doing it
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought
to
he looked
to
old,
get by
especially that
Song
first
Yadong.
round. He looked old as fuck in the first round when Song had 100% energy. He
Yeah,
made Jan look old. Like good thing Song slowed down to where
yeah.
Jan could
And Jan is
fight at
only
the pace.
31. He's not like it shouldn't be that way, but
He looked
every
shell shocked in that first round.
yeah. The thing is too though that for him, like all throughout his career, every fight for him has been a war. He has always gone to war in every fight, Piotr Jan.
Yeah.
So 31 for him, it might be an old 31,
I think his nerves are shot too.
Yeah,
Like you keep winning fights, but you lose them. Like that's got to play into your psyche.
it does. I'm so glad he got the win. I'm gonna sign up to watch him next time. But this was not the catharsis I hoped for out of seeing Piotr Jan not be done as a contender. I still feel a little bit like I don't know.
I was just happy because I picked him here, but like it was really hard for me to pick him here, and I hated that it was hard for me to pick him here because it shouldn't have been.
Yep.
But then the first round happened, and I'm like, here we go.
Yep.
But he pulled it. He pulled through.
Yeah. And for Song Yadong, I mean, he's still only 26. Some of the problems he has are still there. He's an amazing athlete. Like really, honestly, he might be the best athlete in this division.
At least first round athlete.
Yeah. But
he got cut on both of his eyelids.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
The process for him is still it's just not that there's not a he actually took a great page out of Merab Dvalishvili's book in this fight, I thought. And really like pressured hard and kept Jan on the back foot, kept Jan backing to the cage, kept Jan dealing with attacks at all levels the same way Dvalishvili did. But it really didn't. It was a very fighting out of type and fighting out of style version of Song Yadong, which is, I think, he couldn't really maintain it. He doesn't have like a form of what a Song Yadong fight looks like,
Yeah, true.
And so I'm still waiting for that to click with him because when it does, I think, this guy has to fight for the belt at some point. He's too gifted for it to never happen.
Yeah, maybe.
But bantamweight is an insanely difficult division, so
it is very unforgiving.
Yeah,
you just going through this Peter Yan saga. That's like the perfect example of that.
Yeah, I don't know where does he do next? He
oh, that's a tough one. He's fought a lot of people already.
Who did Henry Cejudo call out after his? Oh, he called for Brandon Moreno. That's right. And that's actually a cool fight. Brandon Moreno, Henry Cejudo. I would watch that fight. I like it. But I could also see Piotr Jan, Henry Cejudo. I would watch that fight.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, you know what? I'm just going to call this one right now. I would also be happy to see Piotr Jan, Davison Figueiredo, because I think Figueiredo is going to blow Cody Garbrandt out of the water. And
yeah,
when that's over, I'd watch it.
Cody called that shot too.
If you know what? If Cody Garbrandt beats Davison Figueiredo, then do Cody Garbrandt, Piotr Jan.
Yeah,
I'm here for it.
We are.
You know what?
You solved it.
Piotr Jan, winner of that fight.
That's fire.
I will watch the hell out of that because if Cody Garbrandt can beat Davison Figueiredo, then sure, you know what? Put him in top 5 fights. He is too fast and too powerful to waste him when he's on a winning streak.
I'll shave my head if if Cody Garbrandt gets back to the title, dude. I will shave my head.
You are in that hair is in no danger at all.
Yeah, that'd be insane.
All right. that brings us to a heavyweight bout. Curtis Blades, Jailton Almeida.
Fuck
And
yeah.
why did we... Okay, you know what? I know why I felt good about this, but why did everybody feel good about that? I run a live thread over on the Substack. Literally everybody's like, yeah, that's right.
You don't know why? I'll explain it to you, Zane. Let me break it down for you why this felt so good for everybody. So, number one, most of the hardcores, right? Us dorks, we picked Blades.
Yes.
Most of us, right? So the simple fact that we were right.
Yeah, we want to look good.
Number two, you go out there, you get a body lock, and you don't let it go for 5 minutes. I want you to get starched. And then you come out in the second round and you die on a shitty takedown and you hold on to a single leg and the other guy just hammer fists you into oblivion. That makes me happy. That's called that's like instant karma, instant justice.
It is the perfect catharsis storm.
Yeah, dude, I lost my shit. That was excellent. And Curtis was so calm, cool, and collected the whole time. Like, oh, you want to hug me? Okay, I'm not going to get tired doing this. These other guys you fight, they're not used to this grind. I'm cool. My whole life I've been doing this. Wait till this second round because you're getting tired, not me.
Yep. You know what? Blades, he pulled a Derek Lewis. Like, yeah, you're going to out wrestle me. I will lay here. You will get tired. You're going to hold me down. Do you know how much work it's going to take to hold me down? You will get tired doing that. And he did. And Almeida did. But yeah, I think every single person out there is just like, I like Jailton Almeida. I want to see Jailton Almeida succeed. I do.
Not only do I like him, but when the fight was first announced, in my head, I was like, oh, Almeida. But then once I actually watched I was like, oh, shit, this dude's in trouble. He can't strike.
No, he can't. His dad, I don't know who he's coaching as a boxing coach, but everyone on that team should be looking at him a little bit and being like, am I really learning anything here? Because your kid started training at 6 as a boxer. And where did it go? Where are the hands? Because he doesn't throw them. He looks devoutly uncomfortable on the feet. Whenever he is standing, he does not look like he knows where to be.
He's got that Damian Maia in him.
I mean, Damian Maia at least went out and became K1 Maia.
Eventually, it took a long time for
it did. But Maia's whole problem was really just that he's not that fast. You know, like he's not a fast guy. His athleticism was in his grappling ability, but not his speed or dynamic movement.
Right.
Almeida is a fast, dynamic athlete. The way he could dart in on Blades and get the body lock and keep it and wrench him around and all that stuff. Damian Maia never threw anybody for over anybody's shoulder. No. He never picked anybody.
Takedowns were guard pulls to sweeps.
Yeah.
Guard pulls to wrestle ups.
Yeah. Almeida has the athleticism.
But he doesn't. Athleticism's weird though, right?
Yeah.
Like he's got that grappling athleticism. He doesn't have that striking athleticism.
Well, he just doesn't have any comfort at distance. It's that thing of like, you see lifelong wrestlers. You see,
I think he just doesn't like to get hit.
That's and it's just
part of it.
And it's just, you spend so much time grappling that you don't really necessarily then know where you are supposed to be when you're not connected to somebody. See this with a lot of MMA fighters and their striking, that the moment they get a hand on their opponent, they are suddenly twice the striker they were when they were out at distance.
Mm-hmm.
Like Francis Ngannou is this way. You put him in an open space boxing match against Anthony Joshua.
Right.
He gets lit up like a Christmas tree. Tyson Fury goes out there and clinches with Ngannou and tries to bully him inside. Francis Ngannou has a pretty good fight. All throughout it, you have Derek Lewis staring at Francis Ngannou from 3 feet away for 25 minutes, doesn't throw a punch. You have, somebody, you have, Overeem go out there and like try to tie up with Ngannou and push him around in the clinch, and immediately gets nuked. Like, I think with a lot of fighters, and especially a lot of grapplers, a lot of guys who start out training jiu-jitsu or grappling and wrestling or get into that aspect of the sport, they lose their sense of where they are in open space because they're so used to being connected to somebody all the time for movement.
I'm sure that's part of it, but I'm sure another part is like the game plan and the strategy. It's like, I'm looking for takedown openings. I'm looking for clinch entries. I'm not necessarily looking to set up strikes, or if I am, it's just to get to those entries. And that's just a completely different. I mean, you're looking for different things. You're expecting different things. You're waiting for different things.
Well, let's just hope this is a teaching moment then, because it's MMA. You got to have more of a striking plan than I'm only looking to clinch. You know, like you have to have a, what if I get stranded in open space? Can I literally do anything at all? Do I have a game?
What happens if I can't get this takedown?
Yeah.
Am I going to die on a single leg?
Exactly.
That's what happened.
Almeida fights like he just does not know what to do with himself when he's not in grappling somebody.
It might be a control thing.
Yeah.
Like not having that control makes him feel like he's in I don't know. It just makes him more skittish.
Yeah, like I say, I think it's, you know, you see it from a lot of wrestlers where it's like they don't have the ability to have a hand on somebody. They just don't know where they are. They don't know how to
look at Michael Chandler.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a perfect example of that.
All right. Anyway, great fight from Blades. He should fight, you know, Tom Aspinall for an interim title. That's not going to happen. So he'll just continue treading water until somebody else climbs high enough up that division to try to knock him out of his perennial number one contender spot.
I think it's the perfect time for that Aspinall rematch.
Yeah.
Perfect time. It's not like John Jones is about to fight Aspinall.
He's not.
So let's keep that interim title active. Go fight Blades.
At worst, Aspinall or Jones and Miocic will finally fight each other. They will both retire, as we all expect. And then Blades can fight Aspinall for the belt.
Sure, yeah. But I don't want to wait for that.
I don't want to wait for that, but whatever.
I'd rather them get it on now.
Anyway, and there's Pavlovich is out there too. No, Aspinall already beat Pavlovich, so.
Oh, that's how he got the belt.
Yeah, and Blades already fought him and got knocked out, so there's no fight to make there either, so never mind.
Yeah, I think you just do that rematch, just because like the way it ended, like we got robbed of a real fight.
All right. Women's flyweight bout, Macy Barber, Caitlin Sermonara, Ni Chukagian, and just a solid, like, you know, be strong, be brutal kind of performance from Macy Barber.
Yeah.
I don't think
it ugly.
Yeah, I don't think Chukagian I don't think Sermonara had a bad fight. She went in there and tried to stand toe-to-toe with Barber. Really quickly realized she had to clinch up with her instead because she was getting hit too hard, and tried to get on her bike sometimes and tried to balance all of it. And the end result was she just always was ending up getting hit too hard. There was no place where she could be stronger than Macy Barber.
Yeah, and credit to Barber for just not giving Caitlin the space she needed to just stay in her groove.
Yeah.
I thought Barber had to make it ugly, and she did. Mm-hmm. So I didn't like a lot of that clinching, right? A lot of it was stale, a lot of it was boring, but it was effective. I like the elbows on the inside.
Yeah, if you're Sermonara and you stood down, you sat down in front of Barber and tried to trade 3 hooks, and you landed 2 and Barber landed 2 and hers rocked you a little bit, you're just going to go out there and clinch her up and be like, okay, well, let's slow this the hell down.
Yeah.
You know?
Because she couldn't rely on her jab to do that.
No. All right. We're going to keep burning because we're already running like an hour show here. So, all right. Gamrot, RDA.
Hey, shout out to fucking RDA for showing up in that first round and
showing up in the first. he showed up all fight. Honestly,
Yeah,
you could have. There is a legit argument that you could give RDA rounds 1 and 2, and Gamrot won the third. But none of it. It was not a great fight from Mateusz Gamrot.
No,
he had to stall. Yeah, he really had to stall RDA out to win this fight. And as our one commenting person said, it was very much it was a Gleison Tebow performance from Gamrot out there.
Gleison arguably beat Khabib.
Yes, Tebow was a hell of a hard fighter to beat, and Gamrot is too. But that doesn't mean that Tebow didn't always. Tebow's thing was that he would win the first 13 minutes and 30 seconds of a fight, and then get lit up in the last 2.5 minutes or 1.5 minutes. Whenever his opponent finally realized, wait a minute, what if I just punch him a bunch when he's coming forward?
Oh, those were the days.
Yeah. All right.
But no, RDA looked great in that first. He looked great. Like
he looked great.
He looked in great shape. I don't know if this is a lack of USADA or what, but he looked phenomenal. He looked great out there, and he almost got that knockout in that first round.
Look, whether he is legit or not, he needs to be studied, because whatever he's doing, it works.
How about that one judge that gave Gamrot the first round? What the fuck?
Yeah.
How?
Well,
no. How?
I
Go
mean,
ahead and try to justify it.
Okay. I thought Gamrot would get the first round. I did not think he should, but I thought he would, because even though he got rocked.
No, he got rocked and dropped.
And was he actually officially credited with the knockdown there?
According to me.
According to you.
My eyeballs.
According to judges, he was not. Oh, yes, he was. No, he was. You're right. He was accredited with official knockdown. So even though he got rocked and dropped, he came back and
did no damage.
No, he did some damage at the end of that round with the ground and pound.
Not equivalent.
Maybe not equivalent, but it was very much
the game. The number one scoring criteria is damage, and
it was the kind of thing that I thought would leave the impression on judges that was the last thing they saw in the round. So I am not surprised.
But it didn't. It left an impression on judge, not judge.
Yeah.
One guy who was wrong.
I'm not. That is what I think happened, is that he had some good offense at the end of the round, and it was one of those things where that maybe it's not takedown seals the round anymore, but sometimes the last big flurry is the last thing people remember.
Yeah, and that's wrong. That's what I'm saying.
I am not going to argue.
RDA won that first round.
I am not going to argue against that. Like I say, I think there's an argument that RDA could have won but the first 2 rounds if you wanted to make it. I figured Gamrot would get the win, but both those first 2 rounds had an argument for RDA winning them.
Yeah, Gamrot looked gassed out there. He looked gassed.
His body language was not good. It was just not a good fight.
No.
All right. Kyler Phillips, Pedro Munoz, and this was a really good coming out party for Kyler Phillips. Best elite performance of his career, no question.
It was dazzling.
Yeah.
Some of that shit he does, just downright dazzling.
The man is fast as hell. Like, he has, if we're talking about Sean O'Malley is fast, Kyler Phillips has that same kind of speed. He
better
is
combos,
just fast.
in my opinion.
He's certainly more creative. He's certainly, he does more. Yeah.
Softer volume, but fuck, is that pretty.
I mean, what Sean O'Malley showed out there tonight that I love is that he worked a jab in a variety of ways that made a jab a dynamic tool on multiple fronts, where it was feinting, it was being thrown in multiple, and it was being used as a power strike, and it was being high and low, and it was used to multiple targets. So that Vera, just behind the jab, Vera never knew what was coming, just from the really good use of one very simple tool. Like, Phillips does not have that in his game, but he is definitely a more dynamic combination creator where he can, he will throw out a whole wild, cool grab bag of stuff.
Yeah, he really extends his combinations, and that's fucking fun, man. They're so wild. His movement, the Matrix is a suitable nickname for him.
Yeah, it's great too because he's gone through his ups and downs. He's had some highs and lows. He's had some losses, but he's still only 28, and his game right now, this is the performance of a fighter who looks like they are in their prime, putting on a peak performance at a time when they can do that for the next few years.
Yeah, this should get him back to the rankings.
Should get him to the rankings, and he should be able to win potentially other ranked fights. This should be the kind of fight where he should be a top 10 fighter for a while.
All I know is if I had to fight him, I'd go right for those legs.
You got to slow him down
right away. You give him open space, dude, you're in trouble.
Yeah, he is fast as hell.
His flow state is phenomenal. He might have the best flow state in MMA.
Mm-hmm. All right. Before that, Felipe Lins, Iwan Kudalaba. Lins is he's a better, more consistent fighter round to round. That's all there is to it. Kudalaba's a wild man, but that's all he knows.
Yeah. He even threw that elbow to the back of the head. Blatant as fuck.
Yes. Absolutely a blatant framed back of the head elbow where he framed off the back of the head and then hit it. Does not get more blatant than that.
This is the most illegal strike I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Right since Jan's knee on Aljo.
Yeah. You have lined this up. You are seeing that it's the wrong strike to throw. And then bam.
He couldn't help himself.
Yeah.
Not a great fight, though.
No, not a great fight. Otherwise, Michel Pereira, Michael Alexejczuk, and man, Pereira should have been a middleweight forever. The dude is as middleweight gets. And being at middleweight he's looking so much more dangerous again because middleweights they're not welterweights. They're not that good.
Right.
And suddenly being that sharp and that fast as he is, it is just untouchable. Like Alexejczuk, those body shots, he had no idea what was happening.
This was a body club and tech sub. Body club and tech sub. What?
Yeah.
You hurt him to the body and then submit him. Not just submit him. You put him to sleep. Who the fuck is this guy?
It's beautiful.
Pereira versus Pereira, please.
Yeah.
Can we get the Pereira squared? This was amazing. This is like, sheesh.
Yeah.
1 minute and 1 seconds.
And Alexejczuk's a tough dude too.
Yeah.
I even picked Alexejczuk.
Ooh.
Not because I thought he was a better fighter or, cleaner or whatever. I thought he could giant size Tristan Connolly his way past Michel Pereira.
No, not this Pereira. Pereira learned his lesson.
Yeah, but he has
he reeled it in a bunch. I didn't see
Alexejczuk is a dog, and he used to fight at light heavyweight, and he knocks people down at a really high rate, super, super aggressive in a way that Pereira hasn't faced in a while now. And it's like, maybe he can make it happen. My first instinct was Pereira. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to talk myself into a chance pick here. And Pereira made him look so bad. He just
move up and strike.
Yeah.
That's like you were saying about that speed. Speed kills.
Yeah. And strikers go up, wrestlers go down. That
explosiveness is now coupled with speed. He probably should have been here this whole time.
Yeah. He's one of the most natural middleweights I've ever seen. Like, just purely built for this weight class of weird trick fighters who do one or two things incredibly well and get all the right matchups for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's
Man.
Michel Pereira. It's all what he always should have been. You need to be
know
down
how
there.
bad I want to see him and Alex Pereira.
Yeah.
I know he's at 205 now, but like that's up there.
Hey, you know what? But also what we can see someday? Michel Pereira versus Dricus du Plessis.
Sure, total freak.
Like,
total freak.
Just
car crashes.
Just car crashes.
Yeah.
All right.
No, he looked great though, man.
Before that, Robles Despain. Despain against Josh Parisian. And this fight went just the way I thought it would. Parisian's a tough dude, but this dude is 6'7" with an 87-inch reach. Like,
not only that, but he's aggressive.
He's aggressive.
He's got aggression.
Around. He's going to be far for low-level heavyweights. He is an absolute. He's unlike anything they have ever seen. You know, a guy like Parisian, he doesn't. This is a problem that he was never prepared to solve. You know,
you got the parallel is Ngannou, right? Like that's going to be the.
The parallel to me is more like Greg Hardy, where like Greg Hardy came into the UFC and he, just being a giant athlete, he absolutely just terrified his first few opponents before people kind of figured out what the problem was. Now,
this is very different, Zane. I got to just stop you right there.
Despain's 35.
But he knows how to throw his strikes. He knows how to come after people. He's a real fighter. Greg Hardy was never a real fighter.
Sure, he was never a real fighter, but there's no time for. He's got an incredibly limited game, and there's no time for him to develop it. Like,
sure, like Curtis Blades, like, yeek. 50-50, two true outcomes, right?
I think one true outcome. I don't think. I think any fighter with any guy like Blades who can survive a blitz and take him down is just gonna wreck him.
You're high on your own supply, Zane. This is fucking heavyweight, dude. When you get people like this, like Despain, that's got that Ngannou freakness to him, like it just takes one.
Sure,
it takes one.
I'm just gonna
perfect.
Say, we gotta wait till he fights somebody who has even an ounce of athleticism before we get quite there. Like, he is so far.
There's not like super athletes though. There's not many people that are going to be
but an ounce. We're talking that you got
to go high. Think about where you got to go. You got to get up to like Cyril Gahn or Pavlovich.
No. Like, even Marcin Tybura has an ounce of athleticism. He can survive and like drag Despain into deep water. He might not. I don't know that he'll win, but like,
honestly, man, I'm not going to pick any kind of MMA to work against this guy. I'm picking him all the way until he gets up to the top 5.
Fair enough.
Period.
He is a huge force of nature. I wish he'd gotten to the UFC. I wish he'd gotten into MMA a decade earlier. I don't wish he'd gotten to the UFC a decade earlier. Just wish he'd gotten into MMA a decade earlier.
Just keep him away from the Romanovs. You know what I mean? Keep him away from anyone that's got a blast double.
Yeah.
And let him go knock people out until he gets
out. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But this was a thrill, and he's going to shock a lot of people, especially at the bottom end of this division. I think probably you put him in there with like, what's the other gigantic UFC heavyweight that is not very good?
Who's that Mills guy? Something Mills. What's his name? Dante Mills? Mills?
Oh, I think we're Dontel Mays. We're thinking of the same dude.
Yeah, we got
Dontel Mays.
Is that who you were thinking of?
Yes. Dontel Mays. He's 6'6" and loves to strike. Yeah. He has size parity, and I believe Oh, he's coming out for a loss to Rodrigo Nascimento, but so what? Just do that fight. You know?
Yeah, the dude has 5 fights.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Put him in with both the Tafas, one after the other.
Fuck yeah. Oh, that would be the greatest.
Yeah.
This was 18 seconds. I think let's see. This was 18 seconds. His last fight was 4 seconds. The one before that was 3 seconds. The one before that was 12 seconds.
This is his longest fight since his debut.
That's insane.
Yeah. All right. Before that, Asu Almabayev, CJ Vergara. Just a clinic performance from Almabayev. Yeah. Dude is a legit flyweight athlete with a great wrestling game. It's going to be a problem.
He did land a spinning wheel kick.
Yeah.
Cool. But the fight sucked.
And then Joanne Wood getting the career-closing win over Marina Moroz. And that was great to see because she and Moroz both have looked like fighters who are just off their game entirely for a long time now. And if it's going to be a retirement fight, I'd rather see Wood go out and ride off into the sunset on a win there.
Oh, nothing makes me happier. Mm-hmm. If you're an MMA fan, you got to eat this up. This is a rarity. Yep. This is a delicacy. We don't get this often, so we need to cherish moments like this. Someone going out on a dub.
Yeah.
I just hope she stays retired. And that spinning back fist was fucking tough. If it weren't for the cage, Moroz would have went down.
Yeah. So fun fight. On that note, I would normally say we're going to jump over for some bonus material, but honestly, you know what? The card it is a 5-star event.
Mm-hmm.
Got no complaints. Got nothing to go over, and I am absolutely running on empty here. So
yeah, it's 4 a.m. where I'm at.
Yeah. We're going to call this done and go do other things. Adios, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. You can find me on Twitter at Zane Simon. You can find Eddie on Twitter at Eddie Mercado. And we will keep y'all posted. We're going to keep doing the show, whether it's at the MMA Draw Substack or whether it is at another future, if I start my own Substack or wherever we go, we're going to keep finding a way to do it. So thanks, everyone. We really appreciate y'all tuning in. See you next time.
Definitely a 5-star.